What happens when you're good at so many things, but you stop before you get started? You're frustrated, you're overwhelmed. Before you have an opportunity to write anything down, I know the feeling well. This is for the one like me. I struggle with focus, and I decided that I was going to be decided, focusing on one thing to see it into completion, breaking the cycle. When fatigue comes, comparison comes, doubt comes, self sabotage comes, I make a decision to do one thing that's going to put me on the path to accomplishing the larger picture. And for me, it's working my Notion template to have everything mapped out. If it's being on YouTube, having a YouTube plan, and allowing people to keep me accountable. What has really been the determining factor and me being able to be single focused as somebody who is multi-passionate is allowing those that God has assigned in this season to keep me accountable in areas where I just fall short, and then implementing plans and putting a schedule in place to be realistic about how I will spend my day. If I don't accomplish what I say I will, I can look and say, there's a lie I'm telling myself that's stopping me from completing this task. And I realize that I am the reason why I'm not where I think I should be, because I got in my way. The beauty of God is He has factored in our immaturity. He walks with us to get to the place of full maturity that we will speak to the mountain to tell it to move or climb over it. I remember deciding in October of 23 that I was going to go hard with my YouTube. I was going to stand 10 toes down. I remember seeing content online about don't worry about what you're putting out there until you have made it to your 100th video. And every video you put out, tweak something different. Breaking the cycle for me looks like recording this YouTube video when I have everything else vying for my attention, and putting a plan in place to do that with delegating my time so that I am disciplined in that area. Where God is calling us in this season, we cannot make the excuses that we have made in the past, and we cannot allow our immaturity or perspective or emotions to get in the way. My life became clearer when I became single focused, when I niched down on who I was speaking to. When I talk about a niche within your brand and business, it's focusing on who you're talking to. I decided that I would be speaking to women. My goal is to inspire women to grow in life, faith, and business. Life, faith, and business are the buckets I can speak into and create content around. That means I can share the day-to-day, the parts where life is lifing, the challenges, fitness, things that embody the daily walks of our life. How God told me to move to Texas by faith, how God said my husband was in this season, how God brought the husband, how God paid for the wedding. Me and my husband didn't have to come out of pocket. Being able to share the testimonies of faith, because faith comes by hearing. I've been a business owner since 2017, and it's a component of myself that I have allowed to be in the background. As I discovered the power in my voice, I came into the field of graphic design when I was 12, back when we weren't supposed to have MySpace. My high school had a 3-year design program, and I decided to get a college degree. When you tell me I can't do something, I'm going to change my mind, I go even harder in the paint, and I ended up graduating with this degree in 4 years, which is unheard of as an art student. At my university, you have to come into the university knowing that this is the degree that you want, because it is a 4-year process. On your second year, you submit into the program. I had the plan, but God changed it along the way, where my identity was solely in graphic design. God says there's more to you than just your ability to create. I've been on this journey of coming to know God as a father, because when I know God for who He is, I can see myself the way He's called me to be. When I see myself the way He's called me to be, I can be everything God said. There's a story in Exodus about Bezalel, how God made him a master at every skill. That's the type of anointing I believe I have. I believe God is making me a master at every skill He's given me, and I don't have to dilute or dumb down elements of me because they don't fit into the box of society. That we can be everything God has called us to be. We can be good at so many things, but it requires us to steward it and to be single focused in our output. If we're frustrated, we need to step back and see where we can add more discipline and more accountability. Who are the 2 to 3 people you can tag in to share your vision and dream, that can check in on you, that you can have weekly, monthly check-ins. Where is your journal? In 2020, during the pandemic, the Lord had me create my signature journal. It's the Keep Going journal, because the goal is that you show up daily and keep moving forward, that you make a decision today and build upon it tomorrow. That way, when you look back, you can see how far you've come. You'll take everything you've learned in the last season to venture further than no eyes have seen or ears have heard. The Lord led me to create my journal collection because journaling is how the Lord speaks to me. It's where I get everything out of my brain and onto paper so it doesn't live in my head. I am stagnant when I don't journal. I am stagnant when I don't cultivate relationship with God. And for me, I connect through the pages. I'm doing the 750 words challenge as my journal in this season, because I want to challenge myself to do something different, breaking the cycle. When I find myself going around this mountain or in this perpetual cycle that is not causing any forward motion, I do something different to break the cycle. In this season of getting married, losing my job, and being forced back into full-time entrepreneurship, I'm all about climbing a corporate ladder. I believe in building the vision of somebody else and partnering with them. But what happens when God's calling you to build your own thing? And it's not arrogance or pride, it's submission and obedience to what the Lord is saying. And we move at the pace of grace in which God is displaying for us. In this season of the pandemic, the Lord led me to create a journal. I'm just now getting to the place where I have the confidence to sell it. My focus since October has been building my YouTube and allowing God to position me to walk in the boldness of being a business owner, not making any excuses or being double-minded because I'm applying for other jobs. I'm going to be honest with you. It'll be 12 months in September since I've been back into full-time entrepreneurship, and it's just now taking me the 11th month to fully submit to it, where I am putting a plan in place, using my Notion 12-week planner. I have a template if you guys are interested, help you plan out your vision for the year and put focuses and strategies in place to accomplish it over 12-week periods. After the end of that 12 weeks, you reevaluate what's working and what's not working. One of my goals for this year was to generate $50K in my business, because that was the salary that I had when I was working in corporate America. Divided that by 4, I needed to make $12K in 12 weeks. I accomplished that in the first month, and self-sabotage came. I allowed myself to get distracted and frustrated. I stopped following the plan, working the vision, resting in the secret place because I was getting weary. The Bible says to not grow weary in well-doing, for you shall reap in due season if you faint not. Your girl was out here fainting, struggling. But I thank God for God, and I thank God for accountability. I had a dip in my YouTube where I wasn't putting out content. I had a friend reach out to me and say, what do I need to do to keep you accountable? We hopped on a Zoom and mapped out a plan. I have content planned until October, November, going into the new year. That is where the marriage series was birthed. And in that series, I'm realizing that I want to create additional content. Let me put a plan in place when you can expect to see the marriage series come out, but now I can hit every bucket within the month, because God has called us to birth a thing. There is a business, an idea, a dream within us that we are called to birth, whether it's working at a 9-to-5 or working the land of your own, whatever God says. In this season, we are going to be obedient. Now I can teach workshops on how to create your signature journal, how to publish your book, how to create a free email course. These are things I can implement because I have a plan. The business side has been intimidating because I've been double-minded and not focused. As I'm sharing with you, when you're good at so many things, how do you stay focused and see things into completion? You break the cycle. You stop making excuses. You just do it. You show up daily making small changes. It took me like 80-something videos on YouTube to realize like I was talking about nothing. From that, I made a decision to be more intentional about what I talked about and got on this camera with a plan. In this season, because I developed these journals in 2020, by the time they got to me in 2021, the Lord transitioned me to Texas. I had one of the pastors from my church partner with me to bring my journals here. Getting married, moving twice, and finally getting settled, I can now sell my journals. I can now talk about how journaling has changed my life. I have so many journals I have written in that I can look back and see what God has done over the years since I gave him a fresh yes in 2017. I want to encourage you to focus on one thing in this season, to niche down, to build your authenticity statement. I have a free email course, a 7-day journey that teaches you how to build your authentic brand. I encourage you to sign up for it. You need to be authentically who God has called you to be. And as you focus on God, God will orchestrate your steps. As you put a plan in place based off of what God is speaking to you about you because of your relationship with him, you'll be able to be honest with yourself and break the cycle, break the self-sabotage and the junk that cannot go into the future God is calling you to be a part of. You can create, show up, speak to, and impact the people assigned to your life. This next season requires a deeper dependence, full surrender, getting in the word, cultivating time with God in prayer through journaling, reading, devotion, and community. Lean on your destiny helpers and allow people to surround you with those who can hold your arms up like Aaron and Hur did with Moses. When he put his arms down, destruction came. When he had his arms up, all was well. It took people to support him. God is bringing people to support you, but it starts with you not making an excuse. It starts with you putting a plan in place, stewarding your time. Time is the most valuable resource. Way beyond money, you steward your time, sow your time, and allow your time to be reaped in the season God has for it. Your goal is to put your hands to the plow, trust God, have accountability, and keep going. When you're good at many things, you can be excellent at all of them in the season in which they are needed. It's okay to pause, get off social media, pivot, and try something else. I'm curious to know if I can build a brand or a business with just focusing on YouTube and my writing community on Substack. I'm curious if I can get offline and pitch myself to podcasts and what it would look like versus posting content daily. Social media is draining. I need to break the cycle because if I can keep my hands busy and focused on what God has set before me, I can run my race even better. Social media for me is a distraction, but there is this narrative that I have to have social media to be successful. That is a part of the cycle I'm choosing to break in this season. What is the cycle that you are choosing to break in this season? Drop it in the comments. Let me know so I can be a part of your accountability. Think of me as your accountability partner, where we hold each other accountable to be everything that God says we can be as we grow in life, faith, and business. If you are new here, my name is Janae Carly. Hit the subscribe button and I'll catch y'all next week. Holla.